Well, welcome to the Prepared Mind Show, huh? That's right. It's no joke. It's really no joke. What is going on is incredible. I got to tell you, folks. I got to tell you. I've got a kind of a charity event to go to, so that's why you just might think I'm dressed as a joker, but this is no joke. However, I'm going to do the show dressed like this. Incredible, folks. Chicago Police Union, their head today has urged members to defy the mandate, the vaccine mandate. And he's warning that there's going to be a 50% reduction in law enforcement in Chicago this weekend. How tragic is this? How tragic is it? Right? This seems like the ultimate scenario into which criminal masterminds could work. They could play on this. Chicago is already the greatest crime capital in the country, with children being shot, teenagers being shot, innocent people being shot left and right. And now we have this. The government mandating that people take the Jim Jones juice, right? I really, folks, was hoping I could play the Joker throughout this whole video, but I can't. I'll just be John dressed in a joke, because that's what America has become, a joke. Incredible. Folks, 50% reduction in Chicago police. How many intersections are going to be stopped? How many streets are going to be shut down? How many block parties are going to roll out into the street? How many shootings are going to occur as a result of this? How many more burglaries? How many more beatings? How many more murders? I don't know whether it's going to be better or worse, but we know there's going to be 50% less law enforcement, and we know that this is not a secret. This is the union head himself telling members, don't do it, right? He's not saying defy the vaccine mandate to harm the people. He's telling people, if you believe in not getting the vaccine, then don't do it. But a 50% reduction in the police force, that's going to have incredible, disastrous consequences. I seem to remember, if I remember back 1 year ago, well, no, a year and a half ago, if we can save just one life, it's worth it. Well, how many lives are being lost because of this, folks? I seem to remember hearing a statistic in Chicago that more children are dying. More children are dying from gunshot wounds than people who are dying of cerveza bug. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, folks, what they're doing. It is a tragic joke, folks, on those who are not aware of what's going on. They're unaware. Now, you and I, we're completely aware, right? Now, if I was a criminal mastermind, what city would I choose, folks? Well, Gotham City notwithstanding, it would be Chicago, though. A city famous for police corruption. A city famous for political corruption. A city famous for legal corruption. A city famous for its violence, for its organized crime, for its defiance against government mandates. That's right, folks. Chicago is famous for its defiance against mandates. See, that's when the mafia came in to play in Chicago, big time, right? An organized crime leader, a mastermind, Al Capone, came in and essentially took charge of the underground economy during Prohibition in the 1920s. Prohibition was when the federal government decided it was going to pass a mandate, laws, and tell people, hey, in fact, I think it was a constitutional amendment even. It was brought about by a bunch of Victorian prudes. Anyways, Chicago defied the mandate, and they found ways to sneak, bootleg, smuggle alcohol into Chicago and then distribute it. Right now we have the police union saying we're going to defy these government, mandates. Folks, there isn't really a mandate, and that is still a major story. Where is the mandate? Is it an executive order? Is it statute, legislation, something the legislature passed, where we get representation, Congress? Is this some sort of judicial mandate or order that makes it justifiable and enforceable? Well, when the police are starting to say no more, that means quite a bit to me. Now, in addition to this, Chicago PD has let the Prepared Mind Network know that they are expecting, that's right, Chicago PD, they're expecting to be told to work 12-hour shifts, maybe even 16-hour shifts. Who knows how many hours those who can work will be forced to work. Tells you a little bit about how many folks, how many people out in the real world really have gotten the Jim Jones jab, right? Now, if I remember my Batman correctly, you drink the wrong chemicals and you look like this, right? You drink the wrong chemicals and that's what happens to you. Oh my God, right? You end up looking like this. Right? No, folks. We need to be free. And we need as many people as we can demonstrating that they're not taking this, because we're being lied to. And we're going to get into that just a little bit here. And if you would, we're going to do our usual show. So get your questions in for the second half of the show. But there's something important here, right? There's some important things going on. Things are changing. And I believe that the police down in Australia are starting to reject their government. They're starting to defy the mandates. I think it is going to become very popular for that to happen. Get ready for more, folks. But we have amongst our leadership, some very dangerous individuals. You might remember this name, folks. More famous than many who are on the scene. His name, Terry McAuliffe. That's right, from the Clinton era of politics. Terry McAuliffe, he's still in it, folks. I believe he's running for governor of the state of Virginia. Now, he's also the same idiot who said, hey, parents shouldn't be involved in their children's education or have a say in what they're taught. Don't you think that's a little bit dangerous, especially at a time, especially in Virginia, folks? Remember, Virginia is the state where, well, let's see, somebody with testicles wore a dress into a women's bathroom and sexually assaulted a 14-year-old girl. Got some confusion issues in Virginia. Now, I've got no confusion. I know exactly who I am and what I believe. Hey, costume notwithstanding. But Terry McAuliffe, right, thinks that children, their parents shouldn't have a say. Anyways, he was asked about his stance on parents being involved in their children's education today. And Terry McAuliffe lost his temper. And he screamed, quote, have you been vaccinated yet? You're dangerous. How dangerous is a reporter? How dangerous is a political correspondent? How dangerous are they compared to someone like Terry McAuliffe, who as governor will be every bit as shitty as Gavin Newsom? Folks, these people are sick, twisted freaks. Whether I'm talking about Gavin Newsom or California, whether I'm talking about Governor Prickster of Illinois, or the Wicked Witch of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, right? Well, that clown, that joker from New York State, right? Governor Cumho, he has stepped down, but it was replaced by his sister, it would appear. Folks, these people are dangerous. Mayor Beetlejuice is dangerous, right? I may be dressed as a criminal clown, but it always seems to me that in the movies, the criminals, those masterminds, all they want to do is, I don't know, it seems like all they want, and this is just an aside, is to run a very successful criminal operation that works in the seedier parts of the economy, you know, prostitution and drugs and gambling and drinking and all that, you know, sin. They're already sinning. But these fucking people, like Terry McAuliffe, they're daywalkers, folks. They're out in the middle of the daylight, in the sunshine, lying to people, coming up with policies that are destructive beyond imagination. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And they want to pass, folks. They want to pass on everything. I'll tell you a little bit about Terry McAuliffe here. He is just like every other politician today. They will not answer any questions. They always accuse someone of something else, or they accuse them of what they themselves are doing. And they always have misdirection. They always change the subject. They refuse to answer the question. The real question was, what's your stance on parents making decisions about their own children's education? Seems like a simple enough question, does it not? But it's such a volatile issue in today's educational world. It is completely volatile, and that's why he won't answer it, because it could cost him the election. He is a Clinton knockoff. He's a total Clinton knockoff. He's unpopular. He's a dickhead. And so he can't take something like this, a real question. Well, what's going on in schools? If you missed it, critical race theory. Now in California, where that joker named Gavin Newsom, and folks, he's not even good enough to be this kind of a joker. He is an evil, stupid joker. Has made it a school mandate, a requirement to graduate. To graduate in California, you have to pass a test on critical race theory. Critical race theory teaches children that being white is bad, that it's evil, that it's oppressive, that it's been around for centuries and has been used to harm others. And then they pass that guilt onto them and say, and you're white, and you have no choice as a white child, but to do the same exact things. You are a terrible human being if you're a child and you're white. And your parents are bad, and your grandparents are bad. That's right. Nana and Papa are bad. And your brothers and sisters and everyone else that's white. And you have to destroy yourselves and your belief in what America is, because you have to hate your country, because it was based on these ideas of whiteness, which is absolutely fucking insane, folks. You think criminal masterminds in the movie are fucking insane? At least what they're doing in the movies makes sense. Not these assholes, folks, in Washington, D.C. and the state capitals. They don't make a lick of fucking sense with their programs, unless the idea, folks, is to destroy America. And it really seems like that truly is their agenda and what they're doing. Unbelievable. Unfucking believable. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, Terry McAuliffe. Now, here's a guy that probably could be an evil mastermind, Joe Rogan. Well, guess what he had? He had Dr. Sanjay Gupta on his Joe Rogan's Experience show. Now, who is Sanjay Gupta? Well, he's a doctor, and he works for CNN. That's right, folks, CNN. He is a television doctor, a doctor that gets paid to go on TV and give us his expert professional medical opinion, right? I'm a doctor, listen to me. That's what this guy is all about. But Joe Rogan gets him on as a guest, and I think he's been on their problem. Anyways, let me read you a couple of things that Joe asked him. He put him on the spot. He actually held his feet to the fire. Joe Rogan did something that no one else has the ability to do. Except maybe, yeah, I'm going to go with Maria Bartiromo and Tucker Carlson. They have the ability, but I don't think they can get CNN onto Fox News. But Joe Rogan called Dr. Sanjay Gupta, called him out for his bullshit and lies. And what's really funny, what's really fucking ironic is that Joe Rogan's show will be seen and heard by way more people than any show on CNN. Isn't that fucking amazing? Unbelievable. He confronted Sanjay over CNN's claim that he took horse dewormer as a COVID treatment. Now, you can go, if you're a Patreon member, you can find this here at Patreon. Right? We've got all the links to a bunch of news stories today, way more than I can even talk about. A lot of videos exposing these lies that are being told out there, all kinds of lies being told. Now, here's the deal with this. CNN, several weeks ago, said that Joe Rogan took horse dewormer, which was a lie. Joe Rogan was prescribed by a human doctor. He was prescribed by a human doctor a human medication to treat his cerveza bug. And he got better very, very quickly. In fact, he got better as quickly as I would say that people who have taken, horses who have been administered dewormer have gotten rid of their worms. What is a worm? A parasite. What is a parasite? It's a thing that lives inside of someone else and makes them sick. So in humans, if you get cerveza bug, one might call that a parasite because it's a virus in there that's making them sick. Anyways, Joe Rogan got better and better very quickly. I really wish that he had sued CNN because they lied. Now, Gupta did say, oh, by the way, I'm glad you're better. And Joe Rogan said, thank you. You're probably the only one at CNN who's glad. The rest of them are all lying about me taking horse medication. That bothered you, right? That was his response. That bothered you. Ha, ha, ha. Ha, 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 ha. Ha, ha, ha. Right. And Rogan shot back, it should bother you too. They're lying at your network and people taking human drugs versus drugs for veterinary. Now, I really wish I could, folks. I really wish I could tell you all of the big, scary words that I know. Right? Now, we get back to the interview. Dr. Sanjay Gupta of CNN then told Joe Rogan, calling it a horse dewormer is not the most flattering thing. I get that. Well, says Joe, it's a lie. It's a lie on a news network, and it's a lie that they're conscious of. It's not a mistake. They're unfavorably framing it as veterinary medicine. Oh, yeah, folks. These fucking jokers out here, as far as I'm concerned, they're committing massive crimes. Massive crimes against people. Against all the people. Now, here's the deal, folks. Let's talk. And I'm not going to make fun of nurses or doctors. I'm not going to make fun of other medical professionals. Right? We've all got our problems. But a human doctor only has to learn human anatomy. A veterinarian has to learn cat dog, sheep, goat, horse, pig, alpaca, llama. How many other animals? It's the same parts, but in different shapes and different places and different animals. That's what a veterinarian has to learn. They have to learn all about all kinds of animals. Not only that, they have to diagnose medical problems, folks, without being able to ask the patient, how are you feeling today? What's bothering you? They have to magically look at an animal and figure it out. Now, can you imagine any one of these parents out here? And by parents, I don't mean parents of human children. I mean parents of pets. They must be their parents, because I continuously hear men and women speak of their cats and their dogs as my babies and my children, right? Now, we know they're joking, but they really do love their pets. Do you think for 1 second that any of those pet parents would dare allow a veterinarian to give their pet a toxic medication, a dangerous medication, a medication that wasn't going to be suitable for the illness being treated? The answer, of course, is no. They wouldn't give something toxic, something dangerous. Now, very interesting, is it not, that a certain prescription drug from a doctor can treat humans, and a certain dewormer for animals can be used to treat animals. Isn't that fascinating? It's the same name. It's the same name, folks. So if human beings would never allow a medication to be given to their animal, their pet, their baby, that was toxic, why would it be toxic for a human, especially since Joe Rogan's doctor prescribed it to him? And I know of other doctors that have prescribed it to their other human patients. But I just might say something like this, and you might call me a joker. You might say, that guy's just a clown. What does he know? I would trust as much or more a veterinarian to take care of my medical needs more than a human doctor, because I can't trust human doctors anymore. I cannot trust human doctors anymore. Veterinarians, they seem to be interested in what's best for their patients. Dogs, cats, alpacas, llamas, horses, goats, chickens, pigs, cows. Human doctors seem to make medical decisions based on politics. Joe Rogan did a good job. Congratulations, Joe. And I don't kiss the Joe's ass, and I don't follow the Joe around and think he's the greatest fucking thing since sliced bread, but he did a good job on this one. Good job, Joe, for putting Sanjay Gupta in his place. Well done. Now, as you can tell, I don't look quite normal today. No, I don't. Right? Halloween is coming, folks. And in Seattle, that's right, Seattle, the city with over 400 policemen who are going to have to quit or be fired for refusing to take the Jim Jones juice. They just can't seem to get out of the news, folks. Seattle Elementary School. A Seattle elementary school has canceled the Halloween parade because what, folks? Because a racial equity team says that they should. It marginalizes students of color. Did you know that? Well, clearly I'm white. No doubt about it. No question. I am white. Am I not? But I didn't know that students marginalize, or I'm sorry, holidays, especially Halloween, marginalizes students of color. But it's not all students of color. It's just those who don't celebrate the holiday. And they also said, this racial equity team, it said students can't dress up in costumes this year. That they can only have inclusive events like thematic units of study about the fall. That sounds ridiculous, right? Reviewing autumnal artwork. Where's the fun in that? Where is the fun in that, right? Unfucking believable, folks. Unbelievable. It is a student's choice based on their belief system It's probably given to them by their parents, and that's the way that goes. Is whether or not they're a student of color or a white student, they're choosing not to participate in the annual pumpkin parade or any other Halloween celebration. They're choosing not to. It doesn't marginalize the student. In fact, what this does is this policy marginalizes regular people and makes everyone come down to the level of those who refuse to have fun, can't have fun, are prohibited from having fun. No joking allowed, right? So it is now students of color who refuse to dress up that are now dictating to everyone else, whether they're, I don't know, Native American, Black, Hispanic, white, European, Antarctican. What the hell is going on? Folks, shit has hit the fan, and these leftist wacko dumbfucks are trying to destroy this country. And they're not even using superpowers. They're not even using super criminal techniques. They're right out there in the sunshine, folks, saying the stupidest shit ever. And I know you're opposed to it, and I know you're doing. You are prepped. You have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, right? You have a plan. No super criminal can do anything without a sufficient plan, folks. In fact, nobody, whether you're a criminal or a good guy, can do anything without a plan. The bad guys have plans, folks. The bad guys have an agenda. And the bad guys have power. They've gotten into office where they've been given small amounts of authority, and they've decided to use that and turn it into a destructive, negative power. I don't see how any of this can be beneficial for America, and it is not, because they've come right out and they've told us all, these constitutional civilization parasites who offer nothing to the country and always take and destroy. It is incredible, folks, what is going on, right? And I think I'm going to wrap up the first half of this with this, folks. A German court has found that YouTube's removal of videos about cerveza bug was illegal, and therefore YouTube in Germany must restore those videos. Folks, that's in Germany with a German court. Did Germany have a revolution they fought against the English? Did Germany get a constitution and a Bill of Rights? Or does Germany have some kind of weird set of rules that they operate under that's kind of like us? You know, they have courts and police, and they have some sort of legislature in Germany, right? And, you know, they have shoes, so when they go running, you know, they tie their shoes in little Nazis. I tell you, folks, this is Germany, and they have figured out that it's illegal for YouTube to remove videos. But not in America, folks. The land of the free, but not the land of free speech. In other words, what they found in Germany is that a private corporation can't do what they're doing based on the fact that they're holding themselves out there as a public forum. I invite you to read that story, folks. Start thinking about it, right? But here in America, all right-wing groups, normal Americans, folks, not criminals, not masterminds, right? They're just fine. The criminal masterminds in office in Hollywood, in New York, in Washington, D.C., they're all fine, but it's normal Americans, folks, they're under attack. There's a group called Women for America First, and they helped organize, folks, the January 6th Trump rally. They helped organize it. But they didn't say show up. They didn't say commit any crime. They didn't say be violent. They didn't say anything negative. But they're being attacked. They're under assault. Groups everywhere now, folks, are being attacked in America by the government and by others to try and destroy them, to bring them down. They're coming for all of us, folks. Normal Americans. They're coming for everybody. They're not going to quit. They're not going to quit. And this is what's going on, right? This is what's going on. For those that are being tried for January 6th, the judge, that's right, folks, the judge in Washington, D.C., federal judge, and given, he's repeatedly sentenced people to more prison time than the prosecutors sought, saying that even people who were not violent should face consequences for joining the assault. This is his quote, folks. There have to be consequences for participating in an attempted violent overthrow of the government beyond sitting at home. This jackass's name is District Judge Tanya Chutkan. And you can guess what political party she belongs to. That's what she actually said at one of the hearings, folks. There has to be consequences for participating in an attempted violent overthrow of the government. Violent overthrow of the government? I saw people walking, taking selfies with police, policemen allowing people into the Capitol, opening the doors for them, directing them which way to go. Was this some conspiracy? Did the protesters use some sort of joker gas to hypnotize the cops to get them to allow them in? Unbelievable, folks. Where's the unprecedented attempt in the media, right? Where's that type of language used to describe Antifa and BLM? Folks, they don't use that kind of language because they don't believe it. They really don't. They think that those people are just an idea and that there's nothing wrong with what they do. Unbelievable. Man. Reminds me a lot of this thing called the American Revolution and the Declaration of Independence and why it was fought. And I guess we could get into some questions here. Since this is an untypical show, Jolene, since this is not the usual. No intro, no outro. It's just the Joker here. Let's just get to some questions and see what you guys have to talk. I've got a shit pile of stuff to talk about. I do. I have a shit pile of stuff to talk about. But let's get to your guys' questions. Right. We got Mikey G says, Gavin Newsom has banned small gas engines. How are the people to mow their grass, ride dirt bikes, etc.? Well, you see, he doesn't give a fuck. If you have grass, then you need to what? Buy an electric lawnmower. Where are you going to buy that electric lawnmower? Sears? Walmart? Yeah. Where's that electric lawnmower come from? China. Wait a minute. Things can't come from China. Apparently, there's a circus offshore in Southern California. They're not offloading the ships. Even if there were electric lawnmower on those cargo ships, there's certainly not enough for all of California. Now, here's the deal. He can ban them, but all he can do is ban the new sale or importation. Importation. Now, I have some other questions, though. What about, as you say, motorcycles? Well, what qualifies as a small engine? A small gas engine. What qualifies as that? Is that just for yard equipment? Or does that include motorized vehicles as well? How many cc's, right? What about commercial lawn care equipment? Well, if it's a 200cc motor, is that okay? Or does it have to be a 400cc or 500, like a motorcycle engine? And then does it become okay? Is that not a small gasoline engine anymore? California already has incredibly restrictive rules for their gasoline engines. But yeah, let's put some more on there. Let's fuck the economy up some more. Let's make people spend more money, right? Basically, this is the same thing as, sending a bunch of clowns door to door and saying, we're raising your taxes. You bet, folks. All right, we got this from Jay Clifton. He says, is the government treating red states worse than the blue states? I live in Oregon, very blue, plenty of meat and poultry, decent price, plenty of store stock, no real shortages. That is good news, Jay. From what I have seen, the populated areas, which are typically the blue areas, high density population areas, aren't having any problems. Aren't having any problems with meat or vegetables. It's not so bad. I'm getting comments and reports from people in rural areas, way out in rural areas, and sometimes just a few miles away from the big cities, where their shelves are a little lower, but the prices are definitely a lot higher. Now, I read some national news and averages this morning on the inflation that's out there. And the inflation cited in this news article was well below what I've seen. Now, to give you an idea of are things available, why don't you take a gander at thepreparedmind.club. You might see that it's hard to get long-term food storage products. If you go on Amazon, you're going to have the same problem. If you go to Thrive, which is what Jolene, the prepared mother, is a distributor for, you're going to discover shortages all over the place. And it's not just on Armageddon Chow that we're having problems with supply, distribution. We're seeing it with a lot of items. We're seeing the prices going up and a shortage of them. Another one, for example, is the Berkey water filter. Trying to find those, finding the Berkey filter, the parts, trying to find parts for anything is becoming more difficult. They're doing the best they can. I guess that's what businesses are supposed to do, especially in hard times, do the best they can to get products and sell things. But there are becoming problems. So much so that even the president of the United States, that's right, President Xi Biden, has come out of his hole in the ground. He saw that he had a shadow and he decided to come out and make shit up for 6 minutes. Anyways, he did a press conference and the press asked him, what is he going to do about the fact that it looks like Christmas isn't going to happen if we don't get things delivered? Well, here's the big deal, folks. Most of America doesn't see any problem with what's going on. They don't see it because, as Jay points out, there's plenty of stuff on most shelves. And prices have gone up, but not so bad. Try and buy ground beef, folks, on Amazon. Try and buy some grass-fed ground beef on Amazon and see how you do. 2 weeks ago, it was there. Now, not so much. Now, price much higher. Ground beef is a staple. It is cheap, common food for us cheap, common Americans. And it's becoming more scarce. So Joe Biden came out and said, well, wait a minute, we're going to fix that problem. We're going to get all that shit from China off those ships and into the stores. Everything's going to be fine. Don't worry. Don't worry, Santa Claus is coming to town and he's not going to look like a clown. Don't worry about that, folks. Joe Biden's got everything taken care of, right? Unbelievable. Unbelievable what is going on. America's worried about Christmas instead of looking at what these jackasses are doing to the education system, the military, the economy, Wall Street and their retirements. What is this? What are they doing socially? What are they doing to people's belief systems? You may as well have a bunch of criminal idiots running the show, folks. It is crazy. Let's move on. Uman has a statement. He says, nothing like announcing the police force will be reduced by 50% ahead of time, giving the bums and the tots plenty of time to organize. Well, I mean, which set of clowns are we worried about, Uman? Are we worried about Antifa? Are we worried about Black Lives Matter? Or should we be worried about the gangs, the drug lords, the pimps, the human traffickers that'll be out? It's going to be a free-for-all of crime. It's going to be a crime spree, a crime extravaganza. Are there going to be any really bad leaders out there, folks? Right? Unbelievable. Now, Blue Coat Gorilla says, parking several cargo ships on Florida's East Coast ports with La Palma threat. As to the extended time for shipping, how bad will it get from now with East Coast getting as bad as the West Coast? Well, it is my opinion that nothing happens without a reason, that coincidences are far and few between, more so than people would believe. There are no real coincidences. There are none. Now, I'm not worried about La Palma. I'm not worried about the Canary Islands to the extent that many people are. If it goes kaboom, I am much less worried about a cargo ship than I am worried about potential flooding on the East Coast and tsunami. But yeah, that would cause problems, would it not? I want to remind everyone that the Fukushima event that caused massive tidal waves in Japan, by the time those waves got to North America, they were 3 foot. It was a 3 foot wave that hit California. California regularly has much larger waves than that pounding the coast. So good news there for California. So I imagine that even though La Palma is a lot closer to the American East Coast than California and the West Coast was to Japan, I just don't think it's going to be as bad as they say. Hopefully not, folks, but nothing's happened yet. But what we do know has happened is that the criminals in government have been very busy. They are very active. They are doing things, very damaging things. It's unbelievable, folks, what is going on. All right, we got Warpaint checking in. He says, all the mainstream media, all the government, all the rogue military, all the world leaders are guilty of premeditated murder, says Warpaint. If they are allowed to live, it should be life in prison. There are a lot of people that agree with you in that these people have committed crimes, crimes against humanity, war crimes, crimes against their country, treason, and a lot of that carries the death sentence. The trick is where are you going to hold court? And does that court have the ability to enforce any of its decisions, right? If the court rules because they have information that say American military, American politicians, American bureaucrats have violated the rights of others, how are they going to enforce that? See, that's the trick, folks. Enforcing this is just incredible. David says they are writing history right now. Future generations may never know our side of the story. It makes me feel helpless, but also like I should be writing this shit down. Well, there's a lot of you out there that are recording everything. You're saving news stories. A lot of people are saving the Prepared Mind Network videos, their own copy. Now, BitChute, Rumble, and other social media, they're saving theirs as well on their own servers. What we do here on this channel, well, most of the time I'm not dressed like this, but normally, right? Normally I'm not parked in front of a rave. Normally we're cataloging and documenting what is happening out there on a day-to-day basis, all the way down the line. That's what we do. People are going to remember. The tricky part here, and I do understand what you're saying, it's not who is and who isn't recording it. I think the bigger question is which side is going to win. Because, folks, it's always the winner in a conflict, whether it's a political conflict, a military conflict. It is the winner who gets to write the history, gets to claim they were the good guys and that the bad guys were defeated. Right? If King George and his redcoats had beaten the American colonists in the Revolutionary War, it would probably be called something other than the Revolutionary War. It would probably be called the American Rebellion. And people would be reminded every July 4th of what a terrible thing it was to do, to insult the king and to try and fight him and his just rules and laws. Right? Just like everyone wants to scream and yell about the Nazis, And they do, rightfully so. But it seems like generations today, especially these youths out here, don't understand that the Soviet Union was every bit as evil and then some for killing and murdering Jews who lived in the Soviet Union, for killing their own people, tens of millions of their own people in Russia prior to World War II, plus killing their own military prior to World War II. It's unbelievable, the ignorance level that's out there. Right? Unbelievable. And they want to call. Right? They want to call us bad names. Jay Clifton says, John, I need to know the name of the woman that did this to you. You look like any screaming Libby out there, but you are speaking conservatively. I'm so confused. Dude, I'm the Joker. You don't recognize me from the movies? Nobody did this to me. Right? No woman did this to me. I did this to myself. Anyways, I appreciate the compliment. Looking just like any street liberal with my funky ass hair and my makeup. Right? And my tattoos all over the place. Right? Yeah, I guess I could pass for any screaming liberal on the street wearing a alligator skin purple leather coat. Unbelievable. Now we got this incoming message from the big giant head. He said, they mentioned the Jim Jones juice needs to be stored cold for a certain amount of time. I wonder how many Jim Jones juices were trashed due to people not taking it and it going bad. If it was trashed or not, we don't know. Yeah, how many people were injured or killed because their Jim Jones juice was warm for too long? How about this? Well, if you took my body and you injected it with frozen, I don't know, frozen water, 32.5 degree ice water, right? It's above freezing, but it's well below the 98.6 degree that I am. Don't you think that would cause some damage to my cells, my body? It wouldn't hurt? Well, they take this Jim Jones juice that has to be stored, I think, at, very, very, very low temperatures, well below freezing. And then they're going to warm it up. I mean, if I remember correctly, let me think. Let me go back in this mind of mine, this vault full of information. I remember them saying that it loses its effectiveness when it's warmed up. So if it loses its effectiveness when it warms up, what happens when it's put into someone's body? You put it in someone's body and it's warm and it's warming up and it stays warmed up. So how long does it work? How can it do any good if warming it up outside of a refrigerator makes it lose its effectiveness and it's in your body, which is very warm? How is it effective at all? If it goes bad in a vial because it's not cold enough, how does it not go bad in your body if it's above a certain temperature? Certainly our bodies don't operate at sub-zero freezing temperatures. This is just some of those questions that make my mind go nuts. All right, we got Eli in the Wolverine State. And he says, with the Food and Drug Administration approving Gilead's remdesivir as an emergency use treatment for the plague, why is nobody mentioning it? Is this because Trump mentioned it? Well, let's go with this. Let's just assume that anything the media has been told is not good for big pharmacy, is not good for the agenda. If it's not good for the agenda and it's not good for the major pharmaceutical companies, then they're going to ignore it, pretend it's not there, not tell the people about it. Hell, it may even work. But the agenda certainly isn't to have something that works, because we've been told that it doesn't work, right? That you need to take the zombie juice, and everyone else does too. So you end up looking like, I guess, a zombie, right? Walking, talking, dead. And everyone has to take it, or it's not going to work for anyone at all. That's what we've been told. And once you've taken the zombie juice, well, you can still get cerveza bug. You can still catch it. You can still spread it. You can still be hospitalized for it, and you can still die from it. Makes perfect sense to this mind. All right, Bonnie Blue says, interesting that this is happening as another federal judge has ordered an investigation into the violation of the civil rights of those arrested at the Capitol on January 6th. I wanted to tell you, thank you very much there, Bonnie Blue, for sending me that news article right here. And you sent it at 5:37. You sent it hours and hours and hours ago. It's on my list. I wasn't able to get to it. I feel like some kind of joker. Anyways, this is a very good point. We've got a federal judge is ordering an investigation into the violation of the civil rights of people who are being held in the United States District of Columbia government's political prison, Bastille, Guantanamo Bay detention facility, and their rights are not being adhered to. They're not getting due process. I don't think they're getting legal representation. They're being abused, that's for certain. But the judge that you're kind of talking about, or the other one, is one who is trying these people. You see, we seem to have a justice system where some of the judges have taken off their blinders and their eyes are big for all to see, that they're a bunch of wide-eyed lunatic liberals that are calling trespassing on public property the equivalent of a violent insurrection attempt. While another judge is saying, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. We have this thing called the Constitution. We have due process. We need to make sure that this happens. And because it's not happening, we're going to have an investigation. We have a tale of two Americas, folks. We have one that we seem to know and remember from a dream state where you had rights and being free was what we were all about. And then we have this fucking nightmare, this nightmare now that we're living through called shit hitting the fan. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. We got FJP13 with a question. He says, after all is settled, decimation of all normalcy, can there be a winner? Here's what I would like to say. Right? I learned that when you get in a fight, even when you win, you lose. Even when you win, you get hurt. Even when you win, someone is hurt, right? There's no way to call a winner. In fact, I invite all of you to listen to this song. It's called The Winner by Bobby Bare, B-A-R-E. Bobby Bare wrote a song called The Winner, where the man of the song, you could call him the protagonist or maybe the antagonist, Tiger Man McClure, right? He had a whole lot of fights and he always come out a winner. Broken back, glass eye, busted teeth, right? All kinds of problems this guy got by winning. We're going to go through all of this. We're going to go through all this shit. It's the fan. And we can, folks, we can win the fight for liberty, for freedom. We can return to normalcy. We can have a constitution in a country. It may look different than it looks now. There may be a couple of countries that come out of this fucking mess. But, right? But, there's always a but. We can have winners, folks, but we're all going to suffer. We're all going to pay. You don't get out of a fight, folks, without getting hurt, messed up. There's a price to pay. There always is. There's no way out of that. We're going to have to go through shit. It's the fan. We can win. We should win, folks. Right? Good should conquer evil. And I don't think parents wanting to care for their kids, I don't think other people wanting to be free is wrong. I think that's right. It is people trying to take freedoms, take liberties, take property, take wealth, take people's lives from them, take them children from them, take their country from them. That's criminal. Those are criminal masterminds who've been working on this new world order, great reset, one world religion, one world government, United Nations crap for well over 100 years. They've been working on this shit. If it was good, they wouldn't have to be sneaky, folks. They wouldn't have to lie about it. If it was good, they would come out and debate us fair and square. If it was good, there wouldn't be any censorship. If it was good, the people would demand it. They're not demanding this new world order, globalist economy bullshit any more than the world is demanding that the Joker be president. But at this point, folks, you may as well have the fucking Joker as the president, because Gigi Biden is just an awful, awful, awful president. Look at what he's done to this country in 9 months, 10 months now. Look what he's done to America. And he's continuing to destroy jobs, destroy businesses, destroy lives, families, schools, the military, our relationship with our allies. France has basically said, get this, they issue a Declaration of Independence from America. That's right, folks. France has issued a Declaration of Independence from America. How insane is that? Thank you very much there, Jolene, for letting me know that we've got all caught up. Shit has hit the fan, folks. We have criminal masterminds in the White House. We have criminal masterminds in charge of the government, the bureaucracy, law enforcement, in charge of major corporations. Maybe this getup I'm wearing is suitable, right? Except, yeah, I am talking about the other side, what we should do as people. Free people, we should get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. You should get it together 100%, folks, because we got one hell of a fight coming. Only the people that are the criminal masterminds are the ones with all the power and the authority and the F-16s and the nuclear bombs. Get prepared. And by the way, all of those ships off of the West Coast, could it be that internet disruption was one of the anchors on one of those ships pulling on the underwater cables that connect the internet around the world off the West Coast? Could it be, folks, that maybe that's the excuse for why there's internet problems over on the West Coast and the rest of the country? Maybe the Chinese have submarines and they're down there placing charges on all our communications. I even heard someone put out the idea that maybe the Chinese are using submarines to put a bunch of Chinese military people on all those ships, parked right offshore, and that they're going to have an organized invasion. I remember seeing something about shipping containers being turned into mobile launch platforms that could sit off the coast of America. Maybe those shipping containers are the ones that are on top, and all they have to do is open the top, and the missiles come out, and they target Americans. We could have one hell of a mess on our hands, folks. Who knows what criminal masterminds and their wonderful little toys they have. So I'll be back tomorrow. My hair probably won't be green. My face will probably be a different shade of white. But until then, have a good evening. Kiss and hug and love your family. Share videos with others and tell them to get prepared. And you guys be cool. Semper Fi.